Hey guys, this is Chris, the tiny house guy, and I have a treat for you today. This is my Toyota Tacoma Vanlife. I don't know what you want to call it. This is a Toyota Tacoma that you can sleep in. All right, call it a camper, call it whatever. It's a pretty cool thing that you can sleep in. It's 4-wheel drive. You're gonna be able to get into places that are really cool that most people can't go to. That's the reason I have switched over to this from my NV200 that you saw in some earlier videos. This is a 2019 model. I bought it used. Had like 30,000 miles of sort of a certified pre-owned thing from Toyota. This is it's the TRD off-road model, so it's slightly more capable off-road. It has a locking rear differential for sticky situations and some electronic gizmos. But it's basically it's a Toyota Tacoma 4-wheel drive. First thing I did is I outfitted it with a skid plate, and this is a TRD. It's made by Toyota. It's a really thick, beefy skid plate. I bought it used on eBay. The guy was advertising it used. It's got some scratches. And I'm like, well, you know what? Skid plates are designed to get scratches. That's what they're for. And so I bought it for really cheap, like $125, I think, shipped. And I got it in, and it had like two tiny little scratches in it. And it's built like a brick shithouse. I mean, it's 1/4-inch thick aluminum, super, super durable. You can jack on it if you really wanted to. So pretty happy with that purchase. And it's, sort of the... One of the things I would consider to be essential if you're going to go off-road with a Tacoma. And the second thing that is really important to have on a Tacoma, in my opinion, is rock sliders. You don't want to... You're always... If you're in tricky trail situations where you got rocks or whatever and you're going over them, you really don't want one of those rocks to hit your rocker panel, because that is an expensive repair. If you can do it yourself, I suppose it's easier, but... Even if you can do it yourself, it's still a pain in the ass to do, and you really don't want to have to do it. And the rock sliders actually have some additional advantages where you can jack on them, you can put straps around them to tow if you're in sticky situations or whatnot. So they're really, really good addition. I bought my rock sliders and also my roof rack from, I think it's Cali Raised. It was kind of expensive. It was like maybe $1,200 shipped via truck. It's probably the most expensive thing in the entire build. But I think it's worth it because they're really, really strong. Their stuff is really, really well made. So the next purchase next upgrade that I did was I added a light bar. Actually, I added a light system. And this is basically an electronic system. It's got 6 buttons on the dash. Lets me turn on various things. It has its own little relay box and fuses and all that kind of good stuff. In this case, I have my main one is a light bar that's up on the roof rack. This is a low-profile light bar that I just bought off of eBay. It was nothing special. Actually, not if it was Amazon Lightbar. It needed a little bit of custom bracketry there. If you see on the right, that's sort of a custom bracket. That rack is from Cali Raised. Very good quality. Extruded aluminum, very thick side plates. It's all very, very rugged. It's got lots of threaded inserts if I want to put ditch lights and things like that in it. It's probably well worth the purchase. The next thing you've seen this on a prior video. This is my back seat delete. I use it just because it's a nice flat back seat. It's got some storage underneath storage compartments underneath it where you can open up the doors, and I have tools and all kinds of stuff in here, straps and whatnot. Very, very, very useful. It's probably one of the best things that I've done to this truck is put that rear seat delete in. It's far more useful. This is far more useful than the rear seats. Let me put it that way. And of course, if you're going to want to sleep in this thing, you're going to need a camper shell. And so the camper shell I bought was this one, which it was red. It's not easy being red. But it was kind of old. This brand new, believe it or not, was $3,500. It's insane. But I bought it from a dude for a couple $100, and I painted it up with some Raptor liner, which came out really beautiful. I'm shocked at how good it came out. It's now my favorite new product to work with. Put some black Raptor liner on there. Put all the windows back and reseal them. Looks like $1 million. And of course, to power all my electronic gadgets and gizmos, I needed some solar panels. So I picked out a pair of Renogy 100-watt flexible panels. Right now it's held down with VHB tape and some adhesive. I don't recommend using VHB tape. It actually is not holding up well. It's actually starting to peel back. The thing that's mostly holding it now is the adhesive I used around the edges. You notice the wiring is very, very trick. I shortened it all up, so I didn't want wires flopping all over the top of my bed. I don't want people to be able to see it from a mile away. The connectors that you see with bring the electrical power into the camper shell are actually a custom 3D printed part that I made. It uses standard those MC3 connectors or whatever they are, solar connectors. If you look closely here, you can sort of see, as I pan back, you can sort of see the 3D, the lines in the 3D printing. And these connectors are all sort of epoxy fills. They're completely waterproof. You can sort of see the bead of sealant that I used right next to the camper shell there. And those things unsnap. You know, the connectors come out, and I can pop them off and change a panel if I had to. So that's actually, it came out very nice. It's very stealth. You can't tell just walking in a parking lot unless you're really looking for it. You can't see it too much. We'll see how they hold up over time. We've just had a very hot summer, and it's probably been the worst case. It's been happening to them in the last few weeks, and so far they've held up. They're just the VHB tape is peeling off just a little bit, so we'll have to see how that goes. So let's take a look inside the camper shell now. The first thing that's really important is keeping the dust out. When you're going down gravel, dusty roads, the entire inside is going to get covered in dust. And what you got to do is you got to seal it to keep the dust out. So there's a strip of, looks like it's a rubber EPDM seal that keeps the dust from coming up between the crack of the tailgate and the floor. And then along the edges, I've also got some additional stripping that sort of seals up against the face of the tailgate. This does a very nice job of keeping the dust out. I actually did a test last week, and it worked great. This is another little strip, just once again to keep some of the dust out. This is the same material that's used on the underside of the camper shell. I installed a brand new seal, and that's just an extra piece I had floating around. That piece actually helps keep some of the water out of it when it rains. Okay, so let's look inside. Here we go. I have this configured for what I call living room mode, where the mattress is sort of folded up. It's a tri-fold mattress. It's folded up into something you can sit on. I can work on the laptop there, work on the kitchen counter, do whatever you're going to do, kind of lounge around. It's fairly comfortable. There's a pillow on the right side as a sort of an armrest. And then the kitchen module itself, which is completely removable. It's held in with one big nut. This is the drawer. I got some, I don't know, junk food in there, I guess, and alcohol stove that I use in there. That's pretty nice, very useful storage I'm finding. And then in the under compartment, the compartment that's underneath the drawer, I have enough room for 4 gallons of water. I got some various plastic containers with junk in them. I got some oatmeal in there, it looks like, and some plastic containers that will be eventually filled with various things. I don't know what they're going to be, but right now they're mostly empty. I haven't really outfitted this too much. And then you can see here, this is the middle compartment. This is where I have the Renogy. This is a DC to DC converter that I can use. I can actually push the button on the dash and charge up batteries in the back. It's a 20 amp battery charger. The sink there, sort of, it's a 3D printed drain that goes into the little push-in fitting on the wall. If you look back there very carefully, you can see there's a knob that I actually can unscrew, and that's what allows me to remove this entire kitchen module. Here's my sink. It's a pump-up sink, kind of from a boat. You can see the drain right there. You can see the red 3D printed drain that I've done. My laptop. Here's my channel. Please subscribe. Everybody says that, right? So this little countertop's kind of an auxiliary countertop. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I decided to put it up over the drawer because I thought it was nice. It looked nice. Okay, and here we are, configured for sleep mode. I've got the mattress laid out flat. You can see in the shelf there, I've got two separate power sources. One's a Bluetti EB3A, which is a really nice power station. It's just a little low in capacity. And then I've got my own power station that I built myself, which is a 75 amp hour lithium iron phosphorus prismatic cells, MPPT charge controller, little inverter in there. As I zoom in here, we should be able to see there's 3 switches on there. Those 3 switches, one is for the lights, one is for the inverter, and one is for the fan that's in the window. There's an AC power outlet there that you can flip up and plug in something if you need to. Down the bottom, there's 2 12-volt connections if I need to plug in like another fan or something like that. The ammo can that's in the middle is the one that contains the batteries. If you look between the two, you can just barely see where the connectors go between them. I just sort of have free-form kind of connectors that just plug in. So I can take those 2 ammo cans out one at a time if I need to. And then the Bluetti station is a really nice station, by the way. It's a little low in capacity, but it's really portable. Seems to be very high quality, lots of features. It is something I recommend. Okay, and here's the some fans I have, some little ventilation fans. They're only PC fans. They don't push a ton of air, but it's nice and steady, and they don't draw much power. They run completely off the solar panels if you're in the middle of the day. It's great, just keeps the temperatures down inside a little bit. It's a little sticky to open it up, but it works fairly well. And then we have here's the storage compartment underneath that right now I just have a fan in. Here's a storage compartment behind all the power stations for things that you're not going to use very much. I've just got some crap stacked back there now. Okay, and so here I'm just going to show you detail, just to give you a little more detail of the sink. There's the sink. It's like kind of it's a metal bowl, 3D printed plastic thing, and the tube that comes out. You can see that white thing in the sidewall is where it drains out. There's the hose for the pump, the water pump. That jug that's there has the push-in fitting on top of it and a little pickup tube, so you can basically put a gallon of water there and you can suck it up into the sink. You can see there's an orange connector on the wall. That's where I get my battery power for the DC to DC converter. And what else do I have there? I think I have a switched 12 volt as well, just for whatever if I need it for. Oh, you know what that's for? That's actually so that if I can push the button on my dash, I can turn that DC to DC converter on. So there's 3 wires that come up, 2 12 volt hot, plus and minus 12 volts, and then a switched 12 volt that tells the thing to run. And then finally, I'll show you the sleeping area with the tailgate up, and it is this is only a 5-foot bed, so I'm 5'6", so you got to kind of curl up a little bit to sleep back here. I can do it though if you sleep diagonally with your head sort of up next to the wheel well. You do fit fairly well. It's not like you're curling up in a ball. You can sleep fairly comfortably. I am going to work on something that will sort of make a little foot tent where you can close the back of the camper shell and flip the tailgate down, and it'll put a like a little piece of ripstop nylon, like a cap on the end of it, so that you can stretch out 100%. Use the tailgate to put your dirty shoes or whatnot. I'm still working on that. Okay, so this video has gone ridiculously long. I'm sorry. Thanks for making it all the way to the end. This is Chris, the Tiny House Guy, and thank you for watching.